Hi Franktown students, it's Miss Greenberg again. This is day 3 of our chapter book reading, and we are reading Humphrey, Friendship According to Humphrey. So just a quick little recap. So we know that Humphrey is a little class pet. He lives in room 26 with Miss Brisbane and a whole bunch of students that we are slowly meeting. But then he has also been introduced to this new classroom pet called Og. Og is a frog, obviously. Humphrey doesn't really know how he feels about this little creature. He's like, okay, this guy, he doesn't look like me. He's not furry like me. He lives in a different type of environment than me. He swims in water. Why does he do that? He eats live crickets. Why does he do that? I eat different types of food. I live in a different type of place. I look different. I act different. I sound different. I don't know how I feel about this guy. So far, he does not really like Og the frog at all. And so now we're going to read, and then we also, chapter 2, we met Aldo, who is the custodian who comes in at night, and he talks to Humphrey every night that he comes in and he cleans the school. And so his name was Aldo. So we got to remember that. And so we're just going to see, what is this going to be like? Right now he doesn't really like this new little creature living next door to him because he's different, huh? Sometimes we don't like things that are different from us, right? Okay, so chapter 3 is called Sad, Mad, Bad. And I need my big fat pillow to put my arm. Okay, here we go. I'll tell you how the whole week went. Terrible, terrible, terrible. It must have been National Frog Appreciation Week because frogs were all we talked about in room 26. First, Miss Brisbane taught everybody how to take care of Og, and the students gathered around as she put on rubber gloves, picked up the insect container, and sprinkled a few into Og's tank. She didn't seem too happy about the crickets, which turned out to be quite large and ugly. So Og eats crickets. The way they leaped around the tank, no wonder Og went boing. Did you see his tongue? AJ bellowed. It must have been a foot long. Ooh, he ate one, Heidi squealed. Gross, said Seth, as Og's tongue grabbed the rest of the crickets. I want to pet him, said Mandy, and before anyone could stop her, she slid the top off the tank, reached down and picked up the big lump of frog. No, Mandy, Miss Brisbane said, but it was too late. Oh, he peed on me, Mandy shrieked, dropping Og back into his tank. Not that I blame her. What unsqueakably bad manners. Is that any way for a classroom pet to act? Seth jumped back, shaking his hands. Ooh! Gail giggled, of course, as did everyone else. Wash your hands with plenty of soap with hot water, Miss Brisbane told Mandy. To the rest of the class, she said, that's what frogs do when they're frightened. We must all be gentle with poor Og. If you have to touch him, you must wear gloves. Pick him up by the shoulder blades and never squeeze his stomach or you'll hurt him. She ordered my classmates back to their seats, not including Mandy, who was washing her hands. Then we had to learn more frog facts. They don't start out as cute, furry little babies like hamsters. No, no, no. They start out as funny little tadpoles, and then they grow into ugly-looking pollywogs, and then end up as big, lumpy frogs with bulgy eyes. For some strange reason, everyone was fascinated with frogs except for Tabitha and me. She paid more attention to her stuffed bear than to anything else in class. I overheard Mandy complain to the other girls that Tabitha wasn't very friendly. I tried to get her to play at recess, but she wasn't interested in anything else besides that old bear, said Mandy. She's a big baby. Saya murmured, well, maybe she's shy. I was pleased that Saya had learned to speak up. but the other girls decided Tabitha was just unfriendly, like someone else who was new to classroom 26. After so much frog talk, Miss Brisbane moved on to the subject of poetry. First, we read a scary poem about a tiger. We also read a poem about a bee, followed by a silly poem about a purple cow. Some poems rhyme and others don't, but there are a lot of rhyming words like moon and June and cat and rat. Funny that those last two words rhyme, isn't it? At night, while Og stared into space, I made lists of rhyming words in my notebook. Better than trying to talk to him, as he continued to give me the silent treatment. Jumpy, bumpy, grumpy, lumpy. Funny, those words rhyme too. After a few days spent reading poems, Miss Brisbane said it was time for us to write our own poems. There were louder groans than the first time she mentioned poetry. Miss Brisbane held up her hand, which meant everyone had to be quiet. And all of this is in preparation for Valentine's Day, she said, when our class will present a poetry festival for all of the parents. Each of you will recite a poem you wrote or one you like. There were no groans now. In fact, some of the students looked excited. Even Pay Attention Art Patel was paying attention. Miss Brisbane explained that our assignment was to write a poem about an animal, at least 6 lines long, with words that rhymed. Mandy raised her hand and the teacher called on her. My name rhymes with candy cane, she proudly announced. Miss Brisbane smiled. That's right, Mandy Payne. Mandy Payne does rhyme with candy cane. Does anyone else have a rhyming name? Richie rhymes with itchy, AJ blurted out. What? Repeat it please, Richie. Words were flying through my brain. Humphrey, Pumphrey, Dumfrey, Lumfrey. Gale rhymes with hail. Heidi forgot to raise her hands. And fail, Kirk muttered. I heard that, Kirk-chin, said Miss Brisbane. Well, Kirk rhymes with jerk, said Heidi, who was always ready to defend her best friend Gale. Please, no more, Miss Brisbane said firmly. Kirk also rhymes with work, so let's get back to work. I never saw my classmates work so hard before. Richie chewed on his pencil, Seth jiggled his leg, Heidi erased more than she wrote, Kirk scratched his head, and Miranda wrote and wrote and wrote, and then she stopped writing and raised her hand.